So in this video, we want to talk about a couple ways to expand your thinking. Because if you're going to change your life, you have to start with your thinking. Your thinking has to change first. And one of the first ways to change your thinking is to be a reader and to read in ways that brings new information into you. Now, books changed the world and expanded the horizons for millions of people. For many centuries, humankind was locked into a certain way of thinking. And then along came the Gutenberg press. And all of a sudden, books that used to be so expensive, it was like a year's wages to buy one book, all of a sudden became very inexpensive, and people could get books to start reading. And it transformed the world. In fact, that was when the whole Protestant Reformation happened, is because the Reformation happened at the same time that these books were available, and their ideas were able to spread quickly throughout the whole congregation or the whole society. And I love what C.S. Lewis says about reading. Here's his quote: "In reading great literature, I become 1,000 men and yet remain myself." Oh, isn't that good? With reading, we can go and we can explore the moon in our imagination. We can go to the deepest part of the sea, because this gift of imagination is the way that we can, in a way, experience something without actually being there. And it allows all kinds of new ideas to come in to expand our thinking. So some of you, though, find reading difficult. Every time we do this with a cohort of Crest students, there's always a few that say, "I hate reading. I can't do it." And actually, it's pointing to the fact that you have been probably taught, or else you simply learned, poor ways of reading. And we want to actually help you with that one. In fact, here is a couple of exercises I want to give you on screen here that will illustrate how quickly your brain is able to process things. So get yourself ready. Okay, here it comes. Go. So were you able to read that? Isn't that amazing? And when you actually stop and look at it again, in fact, let's put the screen up again so you can just look and see what there is. Look, you can actually read this. Your mind unscrambles these words. Isn't that incredible? And here we thought spelling was so important. That's a great one. Now, I'm going to show you another one that's even a little more challenging. And are you ready? Set, go. Now, isn't that one amazing? You don't even have the right letters in there, and your brain is able to translate them into something that makes sense in your mind. Now, I'll put up the screen again here so you can just see it. Do you see how it goes? The numbers represent letters a little bit, and it translates and puts it all together, and boom, your brain is able to synthesize disparate information and make sense of it. So we wanted to make these examples to you to just prove to you that your brain is fine. You can't teach an old dog a new trick is totally false. Just the tricks are different.
Yeah.
So you can do things different in the second half that you couldn't do in the first half. And we want to just affirm to you, encourage you that your second half, because of these changes, can be your best half. And reading is a major part of it. And so there's more than one ways to read as well. You may have been taught how to read, and you read one word at a time, left to right, and don't skip any words. Read them all, get them all, comprehend everything as you're going along. And as you're reading, if you don't comprehend something, you have to go back and read it again. Folks, that may be a way to start reading. It's okay when you're a kid, but when you become an adult and you're used to reading, you need to get rid of those ways that actually hinder you in your reading. And so in your curriculum, we've actually got a whole bunch of stuff in there that is very helpful to how to recognize bad habits of reading that you need to discard here in the second half, and how to step up your reading into being able to survey something. You can pick up a book, and within 3 minutes, you should know the main ideas in that book and whether it's worth buying or not. Now, doesn't that save you some money at the bookstore? You can go through the books and pick out the ones that you really want. Now, another way is you can learn how to dip, and you can incubate, and you can skitter and rapid fire. These are just interesting words that talk about ways that our brain, which is way more powerful than what you may have imagined till now, our brain is able to take in information much faster than what we've done in the past. And so we're hoping that with some of this information and some practice and some of the good reading we're going to ask you to do, that you might really come to value reading again.
Dan, I'm very encouraged that you have such a positive outlook on my brain.
Good. That's good.
Because sometimes I wonder, but yeah, very true. So we want to talk about another way to help you expand your horizons, expand your life experiences. Reading is certainly one of them. But another one, this is a tool that many people use to identify the patterns in their life and capture the epic design to it all. And that tool is journaling. Writing your life, thoughts, experiences down. Most of the great leaders in history kept a journal. That's how we know they're great. That's right. Because they told us the story, or someone did, right? That's how we know the great people of the Bible, because in many ways the Bible is a journal. Yeah. Someone's journal. People actually took the time to write these things down because they knew how valuable it would be. When you write things down, like Kairos moments, they tend to take shape and then can start to make sense, right? If you've journaled before, you know what it's like to go back over them, or even while you're writing, to discover something. Wow, that actually makes sense. And the light comes as you actually are writing it down. If you haven't had that experience before, then start journaling, and I believe you will before too long. Know what it's like to have discovery and things make sense as you go along. You really develop a sense of design and logic in your life when you do this. It becomes a powerful tool to go back and see patterns. And not only yourself, but those you love, those who share your journal with, if you choose to do that, can look back and see the pattern of your life, and maybe they can grow and learn from that as well. So here are some suggestions for effective journaling, and you can remember them as the 4 R's of journaling. The first one is record, obviously. You need to record your times and thoughts and moments and experiences. We would encourage you that if you're going to do this, to be honest. Write in your own way, with your own voice as you're writing, and be honest and open about it. If you choose to do that, then you have a choice on how much you let others read that, or who you let read it. So, you have to just be aware of that.
Well, one point here, John, is that you may want to have a journal that is just for you, that you don't tell anybody else. That's my journal. I'm not planning to have my journals read by anybody, but I can be very gut honest with God and myself. And boy, with that honesty and transparency, my personal journals are really something. But then the idea of writing something for a legacy, that's another kind of journal, which actually is really good as well. Yeah. And my father did that. He just passed away a few weeks ago, but in his boxes were a couple of journals. And I was able to look through there and see all the dates of when he did different things and some of his observations. And I really enjoyed reading that. And they were appropriate for public, consumption. So just be aware of the confidentiality about how much detailed personal stuff you might make available to others.
Right. And the whole idea of legacy, like what you experienced, Dan, from your father, like what a treasure that is.
Yeah.
And yeah, it took some effort to, each day or whatever, however often he did it, to write down things.
Yeah,
But now you have that gift from him even after he's passed away.
that's right.
That's brilliant. The second one is reflect. Reflect and process what you are writing. It gives you a chance to, again, look back over it and actually process what's happening to you or what did happen to you. So remember in transitions, we talked about endings and neutral zone. Well, if you have a journal through that, you'll be able to go back over that and recognize the different patterns and learnings that you had during there. And that can be priceless for you. So that leads us to the third point. The third R is retell. And so retell your story, basically. And you can do it in a real private way or point form or however you want, but you can leave a legacy like that, and it can be very special. And the last one is remember. Remember the unique and special details. And then too, as I do, that when you go back over the years to years ago, and even as your kids are growing up or something where you went through a significant moment, and you read through that, you remember details that you had long forgotten.
Yep.
But your journal brings them up to you, and the
That's
advantage of that, of a journal over your memory, right?
Yeah, that's right.
One fades, the other probably doesn't. So a journal can help with that.
But you're exactly right. It's interesting when I read my journals, it brings up from my subconscious, because everything's there. It's just we can't recall it.
Right.
The journal has a way of recalling the most important pieces. When I read the journal, it's like, oh yeah, and I'm back at that day. And it's very enriching, actually, to be able to relive some of those high points.
Yeah. The assignments that you have for this lesson will be in the materials tab. So take a look at those. And just as you are taking a hold of your life and taking this course, take a hold of this opportunity to think differently and grow forward.